Here in the Philippines alone, there are some 36 environmental and mining activists who have been killed in recent years because of their local level advocacy. Most of these cases have never been solved, and as many of you will have noticed in the Philippine Inquirer just yesterday, front page, I thought it was so amazing that here we're having this conference, and on the front page of the newspaper yesterday, another killing. This time, 59-year-old Father Fausto Tentorio. He was gunned down in Arakan in North Cotabato. The Philippine Inquirer noted that he was, and I'm quoting, a staunch anti-mining advocate, and that he, again, quote, opposed projects which are unsustainable and would harm the indigenous peoples. And for that, he's now dead. I'm ending on this topic because just last week I was in Sibuyan, where I met, and it was a very difficult meeting, with the bereaved parents of Armin Marin. I don't know if anyone here has ever heard of Armin. Armin was shot down on October 3rd, 2007 by a security guard of a then Canadian and Australian company. He was trying to stop an altercation between this armed guard, which was in the company vehicle, and some peaceful protesters of the proposed nickel mine. So there was a protest, a couple of hundred people, and this truck tried to push through the protesters. And Armin stepped up and said, "Look, don't do this. Just back up and go another way. And nothing bad will happen here." And without going into all the details, they backed up. They banged into a tree. They called him over, they grabbed him, and his head was pulled into the vehicle, and he was shot at point blank range in the mouth. He was a municipal councillor. He was the parish pastoral council president. He was known to be a protector of the environment and had worked for the World Wildlife Fund. He was also the father of 5 young children, 2 of whom I met when I was there. While in this case, and as I found out is very unusual in the Philippines, the guard was actually caught. I mean, there were tons of people around, and Armin's death was actually filmed, which is quite amazing, by people who were there. That guard was actually caught. He is now jailed. However, the company that hired this guard from another part of the Philippines and brought him into this municipality specifically to guard the asset, but there is no real asset yet there. It's an exploration site, so there's nothing really to guard. But certainly this guard felt that part of his job was to go after mining protesters. They had brought him to the municipality of San Fernando, and this company was not held responsible for its own complicity in this murder. And we're finding this is quite commonly the case, that mining companies, when they're pushed, will throw a few of their security guards at the police and say, "Oh, take these people away, they've done bad things," but do not take any responsibility themselves. And human rights law, international human rights law would certainly say that they are complicit and that they have a responsibility. In the Philippines, you're lucky if you get the person who did the shooting, never mind recognizing the complicity of the company. So again, in asking the question who bears the costs, it is clear that Armin's family, his children, and his community are continuing to suffer the costs of this unnecessary death. But the companies associated with this death but the companies that are associated with this death are not sharing in the costs. And so in examining the question of sharing costs, I will conclude by saying that many costs that are currently being borne by the environment, by local communities, by national governments, are not being accounted for, first of all, so that's an important piece, and they're not being shared by mining companies. This is Armin. I really hesitated to use this picture, but sometimes you have to actually see what we're talking about. And this is a still taken out of the video. The video is unbelievable. It's literally showing his last moments. It's almost like he realizes he's going to die, and he just wants to look at the camera, knowing that that's what his children and others will see. He died shortly after this moment. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine. So two questions questions that we're grappling with actually every day, including our lawmakers. The second speaker we have is Gina. She's the Managing Director of ABS-CBN Foundation, a media-based non-government organization with programs implemented in strategic sectors of society. She's known for her Bantay Bata, child welfare, Bantay Kalikasan, environment, e-media, education, Sagip Kapamilya, emergency response, Kapit Bisig para sa Ilog Pasig, river rehabilitation, Bayani 1, holistic community development, and her latest endeavor that got her into our newspapers very fast is Save Palawan Movement, a campaign that gathered 10 million signatures to stop mining, all mining in Palawan and the other key diversity areas. So let us call Miss Regina Paz Lopez.
Gina, you have to come because there's a Canadian pro-mining activist, and then you have to talk again. Since I was stealing myself, I said, okay, just take a few deep breaths. And now Catherine has just totally overwhelmed me. I mean, just had me. But I cry easily, so it's so it's easy to have me in tears. Okay, so what I'd like to share with you is I'm not against the whole mining industry. Clearly, it has its role to play in the evolution of society. But I am against mining in certain areas. And the most, what I'm definitely against mining in is in our islands. So I'm going to show you one island where she went to. It's called Sibuyan. Is anybody been here to Sibuyan? Yeah, because you can't go there. It's I go there by chopper, and I only went there because I heard they were going to mine 3/4 of the island, and you go there by boat, but it's a really rocky seas. So let me show you what I got from my iPad. It's the world's densest forest. That's Sibuyan. I just want to show you, I don't believe in mining. That's the country's place. Oh, it's icy cold. Wow, look at that. That's me. Those are spectacular corals and amazing diving. Wow, look at that. That's a sea. Because it's the world's densest forest, it has lots of waterfalls. So that's a 4-level water. That's me again. I like to jump now. There's waterfalls everywhere, and the water is largely drinking water. Just an amazing island. Woo! Okay, it's surrounded by white beach, and that's a dolphin. I stopped the car, but my iPad couldn't take it. Okay, the forests are virgin forests. They've never been cut.
It's a crime to remove these forests.
Yeah, forest.
Yeah. Okay, can you hear the sound? You don't hear the sounds in a new forest. This is 1,000 years old.
This one, I don't know, maybe.
1,000? This is sayong. It produces a bark, he said. Oh my, it's
The sap smells like perfume.
Do it to me again.
As extender.
See? What do you mean for perfume? For
Yes,
perfume?
well, for perfume.
That's the mayor.
This is an endemic species of variety of the Linnea. The Linnea sibuyanensis.
It's found only in Sibuyan. This becomes the hardest wood in the world.
This one can be used as a cure for very small
It's a lot of medicinal plants.
wounds.
Okay, and the species here are largely endemic. It cannot be found anywhere else in the world, only here. All right, it's known as the Galapagos of Asia because of the magnificence of its flora and fauna. The National Museum said it's the world's densest forest. Mind you, not Asia's densest forest, not the world. The world's densest forest is in our country, and from a marketing point of view, I can sell that. All right, it's the center of endemism, which means flora and fauna that cannot be found anywhere else in the world, only here. It's a center of endemism. Okay, look at this. What if I were to tell you that 1,580 hectares had been approved for mining, 15,000 hectares for application, and that, oh, where's the point? This one, here. Oops, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. The red one, okay, can you fix it? Sorry, it's a red one, okay. And we were able to stop it. We were able to stop it because, you know, I've been working really hard at trying. Well, this is a really good audience. I might exceed my 30 minutes. This is what happened is I found out that the miners had already brought, you know, I was told that the residents of the island were really upset because they told that the miners had already bought the machines and they were set to drill holes on Monday, and they called me up on Saturday. I said, there's no way they're gonna do that. You know, because once you drill, I've seen mine sites, and once you drill, the damage is irreversible, even if it's just for exploration. So I did frantic calling Saturday, Sunday, and whatever, and by Monday, we were able to get the cease and desist order, but it doesn't stop there. Because the reason why there's mining there is, one, people are poor, and as long as they remain poor, it's just not gonna happen. So now we were in a very aggressive campaign to remove poverty there, and I'll let you know what we're doing. Okay, so this is my stand and the Save Palawan movement. That mining in islands, okay, what are islands? That's where you have mountains and forests and mangroves and coral reefs and farmland. It's an interweave of ecological systems. We're not like Australia or Chile or Mongolia or Canada, where you have huge tracts of land, you know, flat, and you have one accident there, you won't do irreversible damage. If you have one accident in an island, you create large-scale destruction. Let me show you. Okay, one more thing. We are the world's #1 typhoon hit country in the world. You and I have grown up with typhoons all our lives. Every June, it's not like that in other countries. You know, every June we don't have, I mean, there's classes are suspended, work is suspended. Why? Because when the typhoons circulate around the globe, guess when it hits intensity 5? Just here, the Philippines. So there's no mining company that can assure us 1,000,000% that you're not going to have an accident. If you can't do that, there are just some areas that can't afford accidents. It just can't. Let me show you this. This is Rapu-Rapu. I know a gentleman here was from Bicol. Okay.
They're here. Rapu-Rapu's here.
All right. Rapu-Rapu. Okay. I think you know what mining is. The mining is strip mining is what practiced here. You dig, you get the minerals, and like Catherine was saying, when the minerals meet with oxygen and water, it becomes acid. And so small-scale mining is when you dig and then you just leave it there because you don't have the money to put up the infrastructure. And large-scale mining, they do what they put up ponds to neutralize the acidity of the minerals. Now, what happened here in Rapu-Rapu? The tailing pond overfilled. It drained. So it went to the streams, it went to the river, it went to the sea, and guess what happened? All right, let me tell you about Samar, Panikani. You know what's happened here because of my thing with the mining? Before I only knew EDSA and the resorts, and now I've been to all these places. Like Manikani, have you seen the Felix ads that have come out pervasively? Well, you know, they said there's life after mining. Well, this is Felix. This is Felix. Okay, so let me show you.